is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Black Hawks. We are Ohio.
Well, it is a rainy night. It just started a few minutes ago. We didn't expect it, but hopefully it won't last very long. And we welcome you to Great American Ballpark tonight and tomorrow. That's it for the home slate here in the 2011 year. And we have to officially say before we go any further, as we're joined by Chris Welsh and none other than Gapper. Gapper, it's been another great year for you. Thanks for everything.
Interesting stuff. Give me a translation of that during the game, will you, Tom?
We'll have subtitles a little bit later on for Gapper, if you don't mind. But, Gapper, you've done a splendid job. Have you thought about maybe dropping a few pounds at all during the offseason? A bath, perhaps?
I think you hit a little sour note right there with Gapper, Tom.
Jeez, we love Gapper.
I think he's looking good. We love
kidding.
Gapper. And, you know, more than that, the kids love Gapper. And I think that's as important as anything. He comes out here and he thrills kids one after another after another. They go home and they sleep with their Gapper dolls. And it's something we like to eventually break those kids of a habit of doing by the time they get to, Ohio University. But eventually, maybe that'll happen.
Gapper, all the best. Have a great offseason. We'll see you at Reds Fest, right? Okay. Take care of yourself, Gapper. Now beat it. Beat it. See you. Our old buddy Gapper stopping. Whoa, look out. Might have to take that bath over at the hospital after that tumble. Chris, you talked about the kids liking Gapper. Well, a lot of the fans like some of the kids the Reds have on this big league ball club here at the end of the year.
Well, there's a lot to like about these kids, and I don't care who you start with, whether it's Yonder Alonso or Juan Francisco or Devin Mesoraco or Dave Chappelle. All of these kids have really shown since they've come up here from AAA that they've got a pretty good idea of how to play. I think the most impressive from an offensive standpoint is Yonder Alonso. Great idea of the strike zone, of his approach. He knows what he can do. He knows what he can do. But I'll tell you what, he's just one of many that have all sorts of tremendous possibility and potential. Juan Francisco. I mean, here's a guy that hit a ball out of the stadium here, 502 feet. That's the kind of power that you can't simply not ignore when you've got him on your 40-man roster. Todd Frazier's played all over the place. He made a couple of great plays last night at third. He started at shortstop. He's also started in left field. It's an interesting guy for Todd Frazier. I'm not sure if he's ever going to be an everyday player, but I'll tell you what, he loves the game of baseball. And Devin Mesoraco is the one guy that we've longed for all year long to come up here and play. He was the best catching prospect in all of baseball. He has shown what he can do. And the new kids in the bigs, Tom, have really shown the Reds and the Reds front office that they are going to be a big part of this ball club going into next year.
Well, the good news is a number of those guys we've seen a lot here lately. We'll see Mesoraco in the lineup again tonight along with Francisco. And even better news right now as we take a look out on the field, they're starting to remove the tarp. So apparently it is indeed a very short-lived shower. And we've just heard the announcement. We're going to get started at 7:20 rather than 7:10. Chris Welsh going to break down the remaining schedule when we come back.
brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. By your local Ford dealer. Ford, drive one. By the Regional Tourism Network. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Whenever you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time.
Well, no more rain, and the Reds have taken the field, set for the second game of this three-game series. The home finale tomorrow, and the Astros stack them up as follows. Jordan Schaefer is in center. Angel Sanchez at short. J.D. Martinez in left. Carlos Lee at first. Brian Bogasevic is in right. Jimmy Paredes, he is at third. Jose Altuve, the second baseman. Humberto Quintero, the catcher, and Bud Norris on the mound. And in search of win number 9 is right-hander Homer Bailey.
Well, had it going against the Cubs his last time out, Homer Bailey did. He gave up a couple of home runs in the first inning and then shut the Cubs out the rest of the way. Left the game with a lead, Homer Bailey did, but a blown save cost him in that one. Our Farmers Insurance report card on Homer Bailey. You see the last 3 starts he had against the Houston Astros, and they've been overall very good ones. 3 starts, 2 runs overall for Bailey. A guy who comes from Texas, not too far from Houston. I would say that he has a little extra motivation when he pitches against his hometown team.
Quickly ahead 0-2 on Jordan Schaefer, and struck him out with a high fastball at 93 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the Reds defensively, presented by Ford. Stubbs in center, flanked by Dave Chappelle and Jay Bruce. Francisco and Giannis, Phillips and Votto, third to first. And Devin Mesoraco with Homer Bailey taking up the Reds' battery. One away for Sanchez. Strike one. Home plate umpire Angel Campos, Sam Holbrook at first, Paul Schreiber at second, and Chad Fairchild at third. What do we know about Angel Campos?
Well, he's a pitcher's umpire. His number is 63.44.
Tell you what, last night you had the scouting report on Chad Fairchild, and he was pretty much right in the middle of the pack, although we saw a lot of called strikes by the umpire last night.
Yeah, we did, especially if there was a streak there. It seemed like in the middle of the ball game he started calling that ball inside on right-handers. But overall, I think he did a pretty good job. I would tell you more about Angel Campos as far as his bio goes, but he has been around the league so little, or so recently, that they don't have a bio on him yet. So when we find something out, we'll let you know. Probably next year.
Three and two on Sanchez, and Bailey the payoff pitch, and got him to swing, but he fouls it back to the screen. There's ball 4.
Now that's a little unusual really for Sanchez. I mean, this ball club, and one of the reasons why Homer Bailey has pitched very well against the Astros is that right now it's a young ball club. A lot of these guys spent the majority of the year in AAA, but they're very aggressive up there. And if you get ahead of them in the count, they will go up there hacking, and you might be able to run yourself into a whole bunch of easy outs if you make some good pitches.
You may remember Homer's last start, the final game of that Cubs series, where he retired the first 2 batters in the first inning, then allowed a single, a homer, a single, and a homer. And you thought, man, he's in a pile of trouble, especially when we got to the 3rd inning. And the Cubs had the bases loaded and nobody out, already with that 4-0 lead. But Bailey got a line out, a pair of strikeouts, and only allowed 1 base runner over his final 3 2/3 innings. Wounding up going to 6 innings and giving up just those 4 first-inning runs. 2-1 on J.D. Martinez. Broken bat liner just out of the reach of Francisco, and that'll be a hit for Martinez.
Now, sometimes you make a good pitch, and this is a very good pitch for Homer Bailey. A little fastball that runs right in on Martinez. You saw some of the bat splintering right there as that broken bat semi-line drive goes into left field. Martinez is a pretty good-looking hitter for a young guy. I'm not saying he's a middle-of-the-order player yet. He is on this Astros ball club, but got a nice quick bat. Not afraid to swing it. Carlos Lee's kind of an interesting story. Batted third last night, I believe. Lee, he's a fourth-place hitter. But the Astros came to him about midseason and said, you know what, Carlos, in your first at-bat in the ball game, you're batting about $150. Let's get you to do something before the ball game as far as working out a little bit, get your legs going. So now, but right before the game, I mean, while they're playing the national anthem, they've got him doing leg exercises. I'm not sure if it's squats or riding the bicycle, but trying to get that blood flow going so when it's game time in his first at bat, he's ready to go. And he's really punished the ball in his first at bat ever since that time. That's just an example of where statistics can really identify a problem that a certain player has and kind of get so specific about it that he knows what to do to address it.
In the air, deep left field, and Sapelt backs up and is able to go up and get it. The lead just did miss it. And a good thing for Sapelt, Bailey, and the Reds.
Nice play by Dave Sapelt right here. I didn't think he got a whole lot of this. It looks like he got it in on him a little bit. Of course, heavy air tonight. Maybe the ball not carrying as well as it normally does. But Dave Sapelt goes right against the wall, leaps high to get that bad boy, and brings it right on back. Nice play by the Reds left fielder. And a big sigh of relief for Homer Bailey.
Well, 2 on, 2 out. Bugasevic the batter. Converted pitcher and has played pretty well. And well, really better than limited time since being brought up to the big league club and making all the deals they have made, particularly after the trade of Hunter Pence. In the air the other way. Sapelt a long way to get it, but he's there in fair territory, and that'll retire to the side. A hit, a walk to left. Reds coming up. No score. Brandon Phillips, Dave Chappelle, Joey Votto 1, 2, and 3. Jay Bruce in a cleanup spot. Juan Francisco bats fifth at third with Drew Stubbs in center. 7, 8, and 9 go Devin Mesoraco, Paul Janisch, and Homer Bailey against a guy whose win-loss record may not be all that good. Keep in mind the Astros have already lost 100 games. But the rest of the numbers are pretty impressive for Bud Norris.
You know what? He's a guy, Tom, that has really been their most consistent pitcher all year long. Now, Wandy Rodriguez, since he's come back and been healthy, has been outstanding for the Astros. But all year long, 31 starts now for Bud Norris. Forget the win-loss record because his earned run average is really good at 3.6. He gives up fewer than a hit per inning. He strikes out a lot. He leads the team with 173 punch-outs. And I'll tell you what, he's got a nice fastball and a very good slider, and that's what right-handers are going to see all night long.
Boy, he stands just like Roger Clemens, doesn't he, out there on the mound?
He sure does.
Wind up almost identical.
Yeah. And he's built somewhat like Roger Clemens, maybe a little bit smaller. Bud Norris is listed as 6 feet tall, 220 pounds. So he's a burly guy.
Brandon at 294 clubbed his 17th home run of the year here last night, the 5th on this homestand. Also drew a walk in the game. He now has 80 runs batted in, 5 doubles shy of a 40 double year. Broken bat roller to Sanchez. 1 out. Houston on defense, presented by Ford. Bogusevic, Schaefer, Martinez, right, center, and left. Paredes at third. Sanchez at short. Altuve at second. Carlos Lee, the first baseman. Quintero hangs the sign. Chappelle playing in his 32nd game, a .247 batter, 7 doubles, has 3 runs batted in. We'll keep you up to date throughout the entire night. St. Louis will get started in about 45 minutes at home against the Mets. Atlanta losing a heartbreaker in the bottom of the 9th inning in Florida. Game 2 of that series just underway, and the Braves out to a 1-0 lead. And we'll tell you about Tampa Bay and Boston throughout the night. 3-2 on Chappelle. Good at bat by Chappelle. Capped out with a 1-out single in the center field.
Nice level swing by Dave Chappelle. He likes to pitch up. Most guys who aren't real tall do. And he's got a nice quick bat. Takes it right back through the box.
Tough night last night for Joey Votto. We certainly don't see many of those. He struck out twice and grounded into a pair of double plays. So he leads the National League in on-base percentage and walks, 4th in average, and runs, 4th in doubles as well. 6th in hits, RBIs, and 9th in slugging percentage. Another big-time year for Joey Votto. Off the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. So where Votto was asked the other day about, you know, who might be or who should be or who could be the most valuable player in the league this year. And you know, Votto obviously did not go out on a limb and say one guy necessarily above the rest. Although when the Dodgers were taking on the Reds in a couple of series, certainly Matt Kemp made a very favorable impression to Joey Votto. Why not? Kemp 34 home runs, 3rd most in the league, leads the league, tied for the league lead with Ryan Howard with 113 runs batted in. Oh, and by the way, Kemp's hitting .320. Kemp and Ryan Braun, I guess, would be the 2 guys most likely to garner the most votes for the MVP award in the National League this year. I mean, they run neck and neck virtually in every category. Much like Votto, Pujols, and Carlos Gonzalez of Colorado did last year. Votto's team was the only team among those 3 players to reach the postseason. Votto won the award. Three and 2. Joey thought it was ball 4. The Reds have gone 3 consecutive games of 4 or fewer hits and 2 or fewer runs. Only once in the last 90 years have they had a longer streak. 5 in a row in August of 1993. 4 hits or less, 2 runs or less in 3 straight games. Hit hard into left field, but standing there, Martinez. And Sapelt races back to the bag. 2 are out. When the Reds get it done with an RBI, that means another $25 goes to the Reds Community Fund thanks to Shakely. Shakely. It's done. Now Jay Bruce. Jay at 255, 31 home runs and 92 runs batted in. We're in a scoreless game, bottom of the 1st inning. Sapelt had a 1-out single. He stands there now with 2 away. You know, you talk about Bud Norris, and obviously, Chris, we have seen this guy the last couple of years. This is by far and away his best year, and it's, you know, it's another example of oftentimes just having a little patience with a guy.
He's gotten better and better every year, Tom. Last year, the hits and the innings were even. He still had a lot of strikeouts. And he's a pretty simple pitcher. I mean, he doesn't have but really two pitches that he uses primarily. One is a fastball, one is a slider. He'll also throw a changeup, primarily to left-handers, but that's still a work in progress. But he's got a nice, repeatable delivery. And he's a guy that really goes after the hitters.
Foul ball.
Pretty good pitch right there. 2-1. Jay Bruce laying all over a fastball. And he sees Norris pull the string on him and gets him way out ahead of a changeup.
Broke him out on the high gas at 94. That'll end the inning. A hit a man left. We've played one. Astros and Reds are scoreless. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Brandon Phillips been doing some major damage with a long ball. Batting average .267, but 5 home runs. He had 4 against the Cubs during that series and then clubbed 1 here last night. Houston comes to bat in the second inning after stranding a pair against Homer Bailey in the first. Strike 1 to Jimmy Paredes. You know, we were told before the game today Paredes, obviously of Latin descent, and in the native tongue of Espanol, his name, as we pronounced it last night, is Paredes. But he had asked, apparently, that it is pronounced Paredes, and so we certainly will grant him that wish. Swinging a foul ball back out of play. He is from the Dominican Republic. Not even 23 years young yet. Came up originally, as we mentioned last night, in the Yankee organization. Came over in the Lance Berkman deal last year. Has been moved from short to second, and now getting playing time over at third base. A ball and 2 strikes. Second strikeout for Homer Bailey. Get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before every game, including tomorrow with the Emmy Award-winning Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. Jim Day and Jeff Pecora will break it all down along with Chris's checklist before the game tomorrow. Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. In fact, you only have, starting tomorrow, 7 more chances on Reds Live to get up to speed, everything going on with the team. And of course, we still have Tech Talk. And Chris, your checklist takes us right up to game time. Tonight, you went outside the box a little bit, talking about Mariano Rivera. That was very interesting stuff.
Well, it was hard to ignore some of the, I guess, inside the scene and secondary numbers that Mariano Rivera's put up over his illustrious career. I mean, it's amazing when you start breaking it down, how good he is, how good he's been for the New York Yankees.
Got his backhands and just does get Altuve. Two-away in the inning. There was a fascinating story written in the New York papers the other day. It was a very interesting story. Perhaps fascinating is a wrong word. It was a very interesting story of a topic that many people tend to shy away from, that involves directly Mariano Rivera. Rivera has said and maintained for 18 years that he was throwing one day in the bullpen, and he will tell you without any reservation whatsoever that God was the one who delivered his cut fastball. He didn't learn it from anybody. Nobody ever taught him how to throw it. He had no idea it was happening when it was happening, and has maintained that stance and his faith every single interview, every single day in New York for 18 years. And the story went into the fact that in New York and a lot of other places, and they had quotes from writers in there who came right out and said, you know, that whenever athletes or people in society start bringing in religion to the conversation, how because of an example here or an example there, they immediately tune the guy out. And the writer of this particular piece maintained that as it pertains to Mariano Rivera, he's never done anything that has been hypocritical, that has deviated from his belief, and that at least you have to give him the benefit of the doubt, I guess, for lack of a better word, that when he tells you that, not only does he think it, not only does he believe it, but he has carried it with him every day of his career and his professional and personal life. It was a very interesting story if you can look it up and find it.
You know, it's interesting because in order to throw a pitch like that, and I mean, people have tried to dissect that pitch from a mechanical standpoint. I remember reading earlier this summer an article in the New York Times about how they were able to actually show when that ball began to break and why it is so hard to pick up as a hitter, because it really does look like a fastball, exactly like a fastball, until about halfway to the plate, when it just comes inside to your hands if you're a left-hander, away from you as a right-hander, and it's simply impossible to pick up, as is evidenced by his success. But his conviction in that, and the fact that he really believes in that pitch, and you know, if he believes that God placed that ball in his hand to throw a cutter, that gives him more strength than ever before than just somebody who says, well, I think I've got a pretty good idea of how I want to throw this pitch. When you believe in it the way he does, you can see why he has that measure of success.
2-2 on Quintero, and it's lined into left center field. That ball stung, and Cepeled over to cut it off, and he'll hold Quintero to a 2-out single. So the pitcher Bud Norris will bat here in the second inning.
Looks like a little bit of a cutter that Homer gets out there, and I'm not sure whether he just got over the top of that or not. Not a great swing by Quintero, but that's our Exmo look at that. You see the spin on the ball, kind of like a cutter or a slider, and Quintero goes way down the lower part of the strike zone to line it out there on Performance Honda Exmo.
1-2 on Bud Norris. 7 hits in 52 at bats. Bailey a long look in, getting a sign from Devin Mesoraco, and he struck him out on a high fastball, and that'll end the inning. Bailey is fan 3, allowed a couple of hits, no runs for either team through an inning and a half. At Social Media Clubhouse at Reds.com, get an inside look at Jamie Ramsey's Better Off Red blog and the latest Reds news. You can follow Brandon Phillips, Mike Leake, and many more on Twitter. Log on to Reds.com/connect to start today. Jamie Ramsey's blog has become very, very popular, from what I understand.
Well, you know, it's not only a written blog. He puts a lot of photos on there, behind-the-scene photos, and he's got a great sense of humor, JB does. And
it's not that good.
It's a pretty doggone good blog.
No, I'm saying
you got a better
sense
one?
of humor. No.
Oh, you're right about that, yeah.
Yeah, his blog's great.
Yeah, and he could use a haircut, too. But other than that, it's good reading.
Yes. Well, here we go, bottom half of the second inning. Juan Francisco, Drew Stubbs, Devin Mesoraco against Bud Norris. Norris allowed a single to Dave Sapelt, and he has allowed a base hit to Juan Francisco.
You know, I'm really not so sure that if I'm a right-handed pitcher that I lead and that bat off to Juan Francisco with a fastball. I mean, he's looking dead red all the time. And Norris throws the ball firm. I mean, he's not overpowering. He relies a lot on a little bit of sink. He's trying to get this ball down and away. He does get a ground ball, just happens to be back up the middle. See a lot of pitchers alligator arm that as the ball goes up to go. See how he kind of pulled his glove in thinking the second baseman would be there? Second baseman was nowhere close. Grab everything you can.
Away by Drew Stubbs, and Norris ahead of him at 0-2. So you don't know what Juan Francisco getting his first real look at Bud Norris and what kind of read he might have on his move. But I'll tell you one thing. We saw the big fella take off the other night against the Cubs. Chris, you and I were working together. And, I mean, he easily stole a base. It's the only attempt he's had since being called to the big league club. But, I mean, he might be a big, strong guy, but he can run.
He can run. And you can run on Norris, too. He's given up 16 stolen bases. They've only thrown out 4, 5, 6 of them. So you can see his delivery to the plate. Still has a high leg lift. Really doesn't mix in a slide step very much at all.
Second strikeout of the game by Bud Norris. Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is up to $75 million. It's brought to you by the Ohio Lottery. Play today. Now Devin Mesoraco, former #1 pick out of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Down a strike. Reds have made sure, and then Dusty Baker has talked about this regularly, about wanting to still get playing time for the other 2 catchers on this Reds roster. We saw Ramon Hernandez had another very good night here last night. Had a walk. In fact, a couple of walks and a single, was on base all 3 plate appearances in the game. And Ryan Hanigan has continued to get better and better offensively as this season has moved along. Of course, Hanigan is guaranteed to be here, or at least has a contract that'll make him a Red the next couple of seasons. Hernandez, a free agent at the end of the year. And Mesoraco, a highly touted prospect who's put up big-time numbers the last 2 seasons in the Reds minor league system. There were some down in Louisville before Mesoraco was brought up. It felt like as his numbers over the final couple of weeks started to tail off, catching every day, that perhaps was starting to wear down a little bit. I mean, he's still a very young man, and now he's playing an extra month this season. That would be understandable if there's any truth to that.
It would be, and it's not only physical wear down, it's mental wear down too. But the travel of AAA is brutal. They always fly commercial. AAA teams do.
That ball is clubbed into deep left field, and it's a second home run in the career of Devin Mesoraco. He jumped all over that pitch.
He was one player that down in Louisville hit a home run down there that went 471 feet. That at the time was longer than any home run hit by any Reds player all year long. Norris decides to go inside and up with Devin Mesoraco after having kind of pitched him away with cutters and fastballs. And Mesoraco shows him a very quick bat, short arm, strong swing right there, and he knocks it into the stands for a 2-run bomb.
Well, Devin Mesoraco watches as that one's lined into left center field by Giannis. Devin Mesoraco back in that dugout. He is safe. He is secure. New York life. Homer Bailey takes a hack, bounces it in the hole, and he beat it out. Infield hit.
Well, the Astros were just begging Homer Bailey to do that. That's the what we call a butcher boy play. You fake a bunt, you bring the infield in, you bring the bat back, and just try to put the ball in play on the ground somewhere. And a high hopper right there is able to get him to first base, put a big smile on his face, and Billy Hatcher. I'll tell you one thing, Homer has really worked hard on his hitting. Go down to batting cages and you see him down there all the time swinging the bat. Takes it seriously. He's got some pretty good hitting pitchers on this ball club that he's trying to catch up to.
Brandon Phillips, first pitch swinging, drops it foul. It's 4 hits among the 5 batters here in this inning. Singles by Francisco, home run by Mesoraco. Now singles from Giannis and Bailey.
You ever see the movie The Fog?
No.
It's a reenactment right here. Hope that's not headed up to the TV booth.
That looks like the old days. You know, they call it the claw. You know, in San Francisco, when that fog comes over the mountain just to the west of Old Candlestick Park, they call it the claw. That thing would come in there and just reach right over the top of Candlestick Park. One and two to Brandon. Phillips grounded out to Sanchez his first time up. He has 2 on with 1 out and a 2-2 count here in the bottom of the second inning. Reds leading 2-0. We'll do it again. That one didn't miss by much. Norris wanted that call and didn't get it. Perhaps a little bit high in a full count. Three and two now on Phillips. And it's down the right field line and tilting out of play. Final home game of the 2011 year tomorrow. That'll be a 12:35 first pitch. Why not come on down and see the Reds one more time? Say so long for this 2011 team. They'll finish the year with 3 over the weekend in Pittsburgh, followed by 3 next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in New York. There's a tapper down to third, and that is a foul ball. Good look at that shot up the third baseline. See, it hit the line on its last bounce, but it's where, of course, it crosses the bag. And the umpire, Chad Fairchild, saw what you saw. Foul by the time it got there. Eighth pitch of the at-bat is low, and they're loaded up. Of course, our camera operators have been on top of their game the entire year. For many, many years. Tom Seaver, J.K. Smith, Mark Porta, Dave Campolongo, Kevin Rue, John Tomer, David Drusilla, Amy Bailey down there by the Reds dugout, Mike Matthews, our main man up here in the booth, Mr. Jim Strickler, Justin Rohn, Sam Torrey, Jack Leiter, Paul Kalin, the Hound Dog, Greg Hounshell, and Keith Tracy. We're going to be acknowledging all of those that have been a part of our Fox Sports Ohio TV crew throughout the entire year. They work very, very, very hard. And nobody better anywhere in the country to cover baseball and bring it to you each and every night. And we thank every single one of them. You know, man, Jim Strickler up here in the booth, he's working every night, then getting up about 3:15 in the morning and going into work by 5 a.m. There's J.K. Smith, the mayor of Clifton for many, many years. There's Campy. Good to see you, Campy. Dave Chappelle has the bases loaded. He takes high for ball one. 4 straight Reds have reached here in the inning. 5 overall. And looking to add to a 2-0 lead. There's the aforementioned Jim Strickler. I mean, they all come up to say goodbye to him. Even the major heavyweights in town like Denny Jansen.
You're not kidding.
Coming up to give Strick a pat on the back and wonder what's happening. Tom Seaver gave up pitching, and now look what he's doing. Thomas hanging out on the farm in Indiana. And Chappelle has his second hit. That'll bring in Giannis. You're going to hold up Bailey at third. And the Reds now lead 3-0.
Well, what Dave Chappelle has shown so far is that he's got a quick bat and likes the ball up in the zone. Second time he's gone right back through the box with a hard hit ground ball to pick up a base hit, this time an RBI.
Now they're loaded for Joey Votto. 8th man to bat in the inning. All but one is reached. Votto lined out to the left fielder Martinez, his first time up. 1 career grand slam for Joey. So that streak we brought up earlier comes to an end. Second longest streak for the Reds since in the last 90 years, where they had 4 or fewer hits, 2 or fewer runs. And they've done better than that in this inning alone. 3 runs and 5 hits so far. Ball started with Mesoraco's 2-run home run. And now 2 balls and a strike to Votto. When the pitch is piling up for Mr. Norris here in the second inning.
He'd like to be real careful, of course, here to Joey Votto, but he's been struggling against left-handers, as you say. He really owns right-handers. I mean, a .210 batting average against is outstanding. Left-handers at .279, not all that bad, just a little bit above league average. About 20 points above. But in this situation right here, he is very well aware who's in the batter's box. Threw a first pitch fastball by him. That's the only strike that Votto has seen.
Good pitch there, well located fastball on the outer edge, 2-2.
You know, it looks like Norris is able to do, and there aren't all that many pitchers that can, is add to the fastball when he wants to. He lives about 91, 92, and then boom, all of a sudden when he needs a little extra, he reaches back and gets it.
30th pitch in the inning for Norris. And they put on the shift, and this will be a double play to end the inning. But the Reds get 3, 2 of them on one crack of the bat from rookie Devin Mesoraco.
That was the whole reason. You know, you don't want to go into season with the rookie catcher who's never been up before, if that's the plan, you know. So I'm just trying to soak up all the information I can right now, and then, you know, that'll be a jump start in the next season.
Everything. Yes, adjusting to the big leagues for the first time. Our Geico direct quote from Devin Mesoraco. Well, so far so good tonight. 2-run home run. His second is a major leaguer. Reds lead 3-0 as we begin the third. We had a 10-minute rain delay before we got started here tonight. Ball one to Jordan Schaefer, top of the order. Bailey has allowed 3 base runners. 2 of them came consecutively in the first inning with 1 out. He walked Sanchez, allowed a hit to this guy, but then retired Carlos Lee and Brian Bogasevic.
Right here, really the course of action for Homer Bailey is to go out and attack the strike zone. His opponent, Bud Norris, threw a lot of pitches the last inning, strained himself, barely got out of the inning on a ground ball double play by Votto. And you got to come out right after these guys and just make them swing the bat. Get that opposing pitcher right back on the mound as quickly as possible.
It's a leadoff walk after his team just scored him 3 runs. Schaefer, 19 stolen bases, has only been thrown out 4 times, so he's aboard to begin the inning. Right now on FoxSportsOhio.com, you can chat with our Hall of Fame baseball writer, Mr. Hal McCoy. It's all on FoxSportsOhio.com, presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and SafeAuto.com. You can check out Game Connect as well, the ultimate second screen experience. Here's Hal.
Pecking away.
Runner goes, and really, Mesoraco made a nice throw, but that base easily stolen off of the pitcher Bailey.
Well, that's the one thing that everybody's talked to Homer Bailey about. Brian Price, Dusty Baker, is to work on your slide step, work on staying more compact. And I'll tell you what, Devin Mesoraco made that a whole lot closer than it really should have been. Schaefer had just about a running lead down there, and 3 runs down, no big deal. He's going to steal second base, so he's going to try to peck away. Kind of like HOU McCoy.
That is a foul ball. I love the line that HOU had about his new haircut. I saw him the other day when we first opened his homestand. Said, "Man, you're looking sharp." He said, "Yeah." He said, "You know, my wife wanted me to get this cut to look a little bit like George Clooney." He said, "I look like George Goebel instead." I think he looks good.
Yeah. Well, the haircut didn't cost much, but the bowl was at Waterford.
Boy, you're relentless. There's a bouncing ball to Votto.
I'm still after HOU for what he wrote about me back when I was trying to make the Reds back in 1986. I'll never forget it.
Would you like to share with everybody who may not be familiar with that story?
First game I pitched as a non-roster player in spring training for the Reds. The very first spring training
your hometown team
against my hometown team against the Minnesota Twins. Gave up back-to-back doubles, one of them to Billy Beane of all people. And then he listed a number of other pitchers that pitched that day and said, well, we won't hear anything from these guys the rest of their careers. In other words, they'll disappear for life. And I came back to life and reminded him with that in my hand.
That one in the air to deep right, and that one will drop out of here. And that's an opposite field home run for J.D. Martinez.
We talked about him his first time up. Had a real good swing on a line drive base hit to left field. And Homer wants to get that ball inside. Devin Mesoraco wanted it inside. Martinez got the bat head on it and went the other way. Of course, I say that in jest to HOU McCoy. He and I get along very well. You got to respect the guy so much because he's one of these guys I guess you characterize as a grinder. I mean, he is there day in and day out looking for a story, not afraid to ask the tough questions of players, coaches, managers, GMs. And he's not always on their Christmas list, I'll tell you that. But he'll get the story right most of the time and does a great job. And, of course, he is our Hall of Famer.
So a leadoff walk, 1 out later, a home run by Martinez, and now the tying run aboard after a single by Carlos Lee. And Bogusevic digs in after lifting a fly ball down the left field line. It was caught by Sapelt, ending the first inning. Giannis out to get it for out number 2. Paredes will bat with 1 on, 2 in, and 2 out. He struck out his first time up.
Want to wish a big 18th birthday. Happy birthday today to our own Luke Stowe.
Wow.
Son of Ricky Stowe. And
good man.
Yeah, you're not kidding about it. I can't believe Luke is 18 years old. Man, where has the time gone? There he is.
Pride of Elder High.
You're not kidding about that.
Like the entire Stowe family. Well, they love their Panthers. Well, Luke's a great kid. The whole family's a great family. Every one of them. You know how many kids would love to be celebrating their birthday doing what he's doing right now?
Does it every day.
Yep.
Goes to school, comes down here, prepares a lot of the uniforms. Now, the guys who work down the ball boys, down the lines, they're not just ball boys they pull out of the stands. I mean, these guys are the clubhouse attendants. So when they get here in the afternoon, they work in the clubhouse. They're cleaning off spikes, throwing stuff in the washer, putting stuff back in the players' uniform areas and so on.
Making sure the food area is all revved up and ready to go, everything working and everything on, and
clean the place. And then after the ball game, they get their uniforms off and they get in there and they clean up all the uniforms that are around. And when the team gets in at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, there they are waiting for the ball club to get off the bus, the equipment truck to be unloaded.
There's a broken bat roller, Brandon Phillips, and he'll flip to Giannis, and that will end the inning. 2-run home run by Martinez has made it a 1-run ball game. Jenny Gullick from Walton, Kentucky, who currently drives a Toyota 4Runner, will win this beautiful new Tundra on display at Great American Ballpark if a Reds player hits that sign out in right center field. So good luck. We know Jay Bruce can hit one out there. He's down a strike. Reds 3, Astros 2 are in the bottom of the third. Bruce struck out his first time up. A jam with a pitch there, shallow center field, and Schaefer with a very fine play. Well, Schaefer can run. He got a great jump on it. No carry to that ball whatsoever, and take a look. Nicely done.
You know what? It looks like he believes he can get to that ball right from the get-go. Never a doubt for Schaefer. Sanchez peels off and lets the center fielder come in and make a nice play.
Or Schaefer, a guy who the Atlanta Braves thought was going to be an everyday corner guy and eventually turn into their everyday center fielder for years and years. I mean, he didn't waste any time rolling up through the minor leagues. Rookie year right into the starting lineup. Was not going to cover off the ball his first month in the big leagues, and then broke a bone in his wrist. And the more they looked into it, the more serious that injury became. And it took him almost a year and a half before he was ever right. And this was the year they felt was finally going to be the year where he put it all together. just came over to trade from Atlanta to Houston. And with Michael Bourne not around anymore, he came over in that Michael Bourne deal. As Francisco has a 1-out single, Jordan may get a chance to be the Astros guy for years to come.
Well, that time it was not a fastball. I mentioned it the first time up. He threw a fastball to Juan Francisco, who lined it promptly for a base hit. He throws a changeup right there, and Francisco still gets a base hit. This guy's seeing the ball very big right now.
Two on Drew Stubbs. He struck out his first time up. That first strikeout was the 199th strikeout of the year for Drew Stubbs. Two, and he walked him. While the Reds with MLB.com at bat 11 by texting it back to 31826 or visit Reds.com for details. Mesoraco homered. With a man aboard in the last inning.
Well, Bud Norris is really picking up his pitch count here. 66 pitches coming up right here. Here he is only in the bottom of the third inning with 1 out. Reds have worked him tonight.
He's checking that bat, hit it off near the end.
You know, he really looked like,
all right.
You know, the first at bat, the at bat that Mesoraco hit that home run at, it looked like Bud Norris really had him where he wanted to. He was leaning out over the plate, throwing everything away, cutters, sliders, fastballs, all away. And then he tried to get cute and throw a high fastball right by him. And he found out in a hurry that Devin Mesoraco can turn on that high pitch. I imagine here he's going to stay down and away, and that's exactly where they're going.
Well, just above our booth, there remains 1 ball and 2 strikes on Devin Mesoraco.
I want to congratulate the Roberts family. welcome to the world, Houston Michael Roberts, newly born son of Nick and Stephanie, and our good friend Bob Roberts, a longtime season ticket holder here for the Reds, a guy that comes down to the fantasy camp every year. And Bob, looking forward to seeing you from way down in Goodyear, Arizona, when you make that trek down from Pikeville.
Congratulations.
Yep, hope you and your wife Karen and Nick and Stephanie and the young Houston Michael are just doing grand right now.
Well, they went down and away, and they got him down and away. 2 outs in the inning.
Take a look at it from our pitch track standpoint. Looked like a little bit of a slider right there. And that is really Bud Norris's main pitch. It doesn't have a lot of big break on it. It's not one of these slurvy sliders that looks like a curveball. Looks a lot more like a cut fastball. Very quick the way it acts. When he stays on top of it, it's a real good pitch for him. One of the reasons why right-handers this year are hitting down around only 200 against Norris.
Norris quickly ahead of Paul Yanish. Paul followed that home run from Mesoraco with a single in the left center field. Bailey then singled. Phillips walked. And Paul scored a run on a base hit by Dave Sapelt. Reds had a 3-0 lead at the time. Had the bases loaded with only 1 out. But Norris got down to business, getting Votto to bounce into a double play to end the inning and any further damage. Houston came right back in the 3rd inning. And got a 2-run home run to the opposite field by J.D. Martinez. And now the medical staff, along with manager Brad Mills and their pitching coach, coming out to take a look at Bud Norris. He's already thrown 71 pitches. We're only in the 3rd inning. He doesn't look like he's doing too well out there. I don't think there's any doubt this young man's coming out of the game. Yeah, he is.
Doug Brocail is the pitching coach now, they have made the change. And you see Norris, as right after he kind of finished that pitch, he just walks off the mound right there. That's when his catcher Quintero just going to call timeout. He's going to come on out.
Well, we certainly hope that Bud Norris is going to be okay. He's had a very good year. A year he can be very proud of.
You're not kidding about that. Good looking young pitcher.
our utility man, LeBron Robinson. In video, I'd like to thank John Heeman, our Exmo slow motion cameraman, Jeff Silverman. In lighting, our friends from Midwest Grip and Lighting. They are internationally known for the job they do. Our videotape operators, Don Johnson and Zach Riedmeyer. Call it the Elvis machine that brings you so many great replays. Our operators, Kevin Penowit, Matt Crowley, and Tom Kotick. Our technical directors, Anthony DeMarco, Brian Filippetti, and Mark Labuda. In audio, I give this guy headaches, and man, what a job he does. Jim Probe, thank you very much, Jimbo. Our audio assistants, Jamie Ferguson, Ken Farney, and going all the way back to the radio days at WLW in the booth with us each and every night. An honor and a pleasure to be working with Mr. Dickie Moss. Our Fox box operator, that's a thing you see up in the corner of your screen. Staying on top of it all, our good friend, Mr. John Browdy. In graphics, Alan Layton and Dave Bachman. The guys that are down there in the clubhouse and bouncing around doing all those great features. Working the camera, Matt Coyner, Scott Thompson, and Jeff Gardner. Editors hard at work putting it all together, Rob Overberg and Mark Dieter. The folks have put the entire crew together. Stacia Fritchie and Troy Stiff. The engineers, Phil Buskin, Ed Schreider, and Fred Engelhardt. Back in master control, Vinny Cavanaugh, Anthony Giannazzo, Kenny Deep. I'd like to thank our operations manager, John Couts. Statistician, his first year with us since the passing of our dear friend Mark Wagner, Mr. Joel Lucca. Joel, thanks for everything. Hope you and your family have a great summer. Ron Millinor, our production assistant. And right here in the booth, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. How we looking? How we looking? We're looking good. Jesse's a man. Keeps this whole operation running. I don't know about smoothly or not, but running. Ron Millinor, great to have him with us this entire year after all his many great years at both Channel 5 and Channels 19. We'll certainly be passing along our thanks to so many more crew members as we roll on through the night and into tomorrow.
You know, it's really amazing, Tom, that people who watch us on a nightly basis don't realize how many people it takes to put a game on television the way we do. I mean, you just went through just a partial list of the folks that are here every day, setting up, tearing down, doing the production work, backstage, and the truck and all the technical things that need to get done and done right, if even we're just going to be on the air when you turn the TV on. So we do appreciate their hard work. And this is, you know, having traveled all around, and you have traveled more than I have. In my estimation, the best crew in baseball.
No doubt about it. Not even debatable.
Well, the pitcher you see warming up is Lucas Harrell. Originally drafted and signed by the White Sox back in 2004. He's from Springfield, Missouri. Led his high school team to the state championships back then. Came to big league spring training with the White Sox this year and was among one of the first cuts. Eventually he was released at the end of spring training and signed with the Astros sometime in July, and here he is in the big leagues with the Astros.
The Reds have 2 on. They have 2 out. And Harrell walks into a nice count. 0-2 on Paul Yanish.
Does it get any better than that?
Nope. Breaking ball away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And a tapper to the right side should and will in the inning. So Harrell takes care of Giannis. The Reds strand 2. And the Reds lead 3-2 as we go to the 4th.
Food Group, proudly serving America's restaurants, schools, retailers, and our military around the world. JTM Food Group, by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Moneyball, starring Brad Pitt, in theaters September 23rd, rated PG-13.
Back at the ballpark in downtown Cincinnati, a 3-2 Reds lead as we're set to begin the 4th inning. Homer Bailey still on the mound. By the way, we have received word on Bud Norris. He has some discomfort in his right shoulder. So hopefully that's all it is. Just a little discomfort, and he's going to be A-OK. Well, Homer Bailey once led 3-0 at a leadoff walk the next half inning to Jordan Schaefer. 2 batters later, Martinez made it a 1-run game. Well, here we go in the 4th. Latter third in the batting order. Jose Altuve will be followed by Humberto Quintero. And then Lucas Harrell, we would assume. Giannis will plant, throw, and got it. You guys scooting up the line. All right, Chris, you've been on a roll here. Our AT&T trivia question.
Well, the questions have been pretty fair lately. We'll see what this one is tonight. Who are the only 2 Reds to have a 300-plus batting average, hit 30 or more home runs, and drive in 100 or more in consecutive seasons? 330 and drive in 100 or more in at least 2 seasons in a row. That's a good year.
Well, I know who my 2 picks are. One of them we know. I mean, look, it's a gimme. Votto.
Right.
You know what? Now that I think about it, it's not Votto. He's going to join that group this year. So I beg your pardon. He's about to join. He did not knock in 100 runs 2 years ago. So Votto is in there by the end of this year. But these 2 guys, one of them I know, and I got to tell you, I'm having a hard time thinking about the other one. Well, you at home think about it. I'm sure a lot of you already have the correct answer. There you see Votto's season numbers. I mean, barring a complete collapse, he'll hit over 300. Still needing a couple of more home runs and 2 more runs batted in to make it 2 in a row and join the other 2 players we're asking you about in our trivia question. Harrell getting it bad with 2 down and nobody on, quickly behind 2 strikes. Only 2 at-bats in Lucas Harrell's major league career. Both of them strikeouts. Bailey a pitch away from making it the trifecta. You have any idea who those 2 guys are?
I'm thinking, you know, the first thing you do is you think Big Red Machine.
But I'm not, you know what, I don't, and I could be 100% wrong. The first guy I always think of has won an MVP in both leagues. That's the first guy I always think of when I think power and batting average in Reds history.
That'd be Frank Robinson.
Right. Now the other one, I have absolutely no clue. But I don't think it was a Big Red Machine guy. We'll find out in a minute. New this year is a Red spring training package, which includes an exclusive meet and greet with Reds personnel, custom Reds merchandise, great seats, of course, to watch the Reds, and much, much more. For more information on 2012 spring training, visit Reds.com/spring travel today. Reds lead 3-2. They bat in the bottom of the 4th against Lucas Harrell. On in relief for Bud Norris, who left the game with discomfort in his shoulder. With 2 on and 2 men out in the Reds' 3rd. So a clean inning for Harrell. 1-1 to Homer Bailey. Well, after chatting between innings about our AT&T trivia question answer, I am sure there are a lot of you that have been Reds fans for a long, long time who were probably yelling at the TV saying, come on, you got to be kidding. You got Frank Robinson right, but you don't have the other guy right. About the only 2 Reds, which Joey Votto, as we mentioned, should join this club this year to have consecutive years of a 300 batting average, 30 or more home runs, 100 or more runs batted in. Frank Robinson did it in 1961 and 1962. But how about big clue? Ted Kluszewski, 4 years in a row. Joe Luckup, our statistician, tells me, now listen to these numbers. In those 4 years for Kluszewski, the average numbers in those categories for Kluszewski during that 4-year run. This will be the first out of the inning. Kluszewski's average over those 4 years, 315. He averaged 43 home runs and 116 runs batted in.
But that's not even the best of it, is it?
No. when you take into account those numbers, 43, 116. He averaged 62 walks a year, 35 strikeouts a year.
That is amazing. I mean, he swung a bat as big as a telephone pole. Contact hitter with power. And what a great man he was. Tremendous man.
That was quite a groove. You know, Johnny Bench talked a lot about those guys the other night, that coaching staff under Sparky Anderson and the Big Red Machine. Those guys were something.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you that I went out to Bainbridge, Ohio as a kid to attend the Ted Kluszewski baseball school?
No.
Yeah. Great time. Out in the middle of nowhere. And Ted used to come out once a week, take batting practice. Of course, to an 11 or 12-year-old, I mean, he looked like Paul Bunyan.
Oh, yeah.
Take batting practice, and there was one old baseball with the cover was about peeled off of it. And he could hit it, of course, over the fence, over the trees, over the railroad tracks. And he named that ball Old Nelly. He just come in there, he'd try to hit Old Nelly into the woods. We'd all go out there and chase it, see if we could find it, take it home. Went there back-to-back years.
Really?
First year I came back with the Outstanding Pitcher Award. Second year I came back with the Outstanding Ping Pong Player Award. My dad said, that's enough of that.
Ryan wanted Chappelle, and he draws a walk. It's been a good night for Mr. Chappelle.
Really has. You know, his playing time has really been etched away with Chris Heisey coming back and being healthy enough to play. Yonder Alonso playing out there quite a bit from time to time. And Chappelle, who came up there, was playing every day for a while, has found himself on the pine, but making the most of it tonight.
Hey, that Moneyball movie, I saw where they had the premiere out in Oakland last night of that. You and I were talking about that book when we went out to Oakland, what, 4 or 5 years ago, that pitch in the dirt. And it gets away from the catcher, Quintero, and both runners are going to advance. You going to go check that movie out?
I probably will. Eventually. It comes on Netflix. Now, if it gets great reviews, yeah, I will. And you know what, I understand. The one part of it that I'm kind of intrigued by is I understand that they have a voiceover clip that they've taken from a live broadcast that features your dad as doing some play-by-play.
Really?
Yeah. Now, he didn't do that specifically for the movie. What they did was they took the actual play-by-play from a ball game, and either he's in the background, but you can certainly identify, you know, Marty Brennaman as the voice.
I'll be darned.
That in itself might be worthwhile. Although I'm a little ticked off at Marty right now.
1-1 to count and a swing and a miss. Why would that be?
Guy knows how to rub it in, doesn't he?
Hey,
I mean,
we're all big boys.
Had a wonderful golf tournament this weekend over at Belterra, as they do a great job down there.
Boy, he looks tired.
Reds community. He does look tired. Played golf all day Sunday. Played all day in the rain yesterday. Of course, his team won it yesterday. He beat the Tom Brennaman Dream Team.
Not so dreamy.
Not a good day for the Dream Team yesterday. You made Eddie Shepard your general manager, and we won it last year, and he upset the chemistry of the team this year, brought in a new player. I can't blame the new player because he had a pretty good day, but sometimes it's just chemistry. I'm glad the changes have been made.
He's been relieved of his duties.
Yeah. Saw the press release. Eddie Shepard gone as GM. And I want to thank you for the trust that you're putting in me as interim GM.
You're welcome. We better win.
We got nowhere else to go but up. You know, you kind of remind me of George Steinbrenner in a way as the owner of that team. You're not easy to get along with after a loss.
3-2 to Votto. And straight up in the air. Boy, Votto's scuffling in this first 2 games of this series. Bounced into a double play with the bases loaded his first time up. And now fouls out with a runner at third and only 1 out.
Well, he grounded into 2 ground ball double plays yesterday. And you think because the guy won the MVP last year that he's impervious to being tired or fatigued. But his bat looks just a little bit slow.
The runner still at second and third, and now a chance for Jay Bruce, and it's ball one. Hook foul. Hope everybody's all right down there.
I really thought, we had Johnny Bench on his night when they unveiled the statue. He made a very astute observation of Jay Bruce and how quick he is with his front leg. Picks it up, gets it down, and oftentimes is late, leaves him susceptible to the outside pitch. You watch his left leg, we'll see if that happens again. It goes up and down so quick that when he does get it down, if he doesn't get it down soon enough, you don't really have much of a base to hit off of.
His right leg.
His right leg. This one right here, you watch how quick that movement is. That one was pretty good.
And shot into left field. That'll bring in a couple of runs. Sapelt will slide in there safely. Following Homer Bailey and Jay Bruce, a 2-out 2-run single to make it a 5-2 Reds lead.
Now Lucas Harrell got a ball up. They wanted it inside. It looks like a cutter that he leaves way out over the edge of the plate. And Bruce goes with it. That's a good sign.
Well, it's now 94 runs batted in for Jay Bruce.
Well, he gets his foot down that time, and that is the key. If you talk to any hitting coach in the major league level or any professional level, they'll tell you the key to hitting is getting your front foot down in time. If you're late, you can forget it.
Jay Bruce snapping out of an 0 for 16 skid with that 2-run single. And a big one it is. The Reds lead goes from 3-2 to 5-2 on the hit by Jay. We're on our way to the fifth. Pre-game show. Kent Dreamweaver along with Matt Sigafus, the multi-talented Kent Weaver and Matt Sigafus. Our graphics coordinator all year long, Miss Lauren White. We thank her for all she's done. Our tape producers, again, Matt Sigafus. We talked about versatility. And Kevin Penowit. Our directors, Bob Pennell Brian Hunterman. And our good friend, we go way, way back with Mr. Roy Alfers. Back to Bowling for Straight Time at Channel 5. The HOU to Pole king of TV bowling. And, of course, had a chance back in 1988 to have the pleasure to work with Roy and Jesse Jackson alongside Johnny Bench, broadcasting Cincinnati Reds baseball over on Channel 5. And Roy's still going strong after all these years. I thank all of them for all their hard work and great work. Not hard work, great work. Jordan Schaefer, top of the order, leading things off for the Astros here in the 5th. Last time he led off an inning was the 3rd. He walked, stole a base, and scored on the J.D. Martinez home run. Bailey struck him out in the 1st inning. Brandon to get it. Better hurry. What a play. What a play. What a play. Makes it look so easy. That's a guy that can motor up the line. Phillips a pirouette after ranging far to his left and throws him out easily.
Now remember that grass is still wet out there. Footing not very solid. He goes out there, has to stop or at least turn around and be able to figure out where to throw that ball. Right on the money to Joey Votto. Schaefer can fly too. Guy's an athlete.
No doubt.
You watch Brandon Phillips play second, and you think that, you know, if he was brought up playing tennis, he could probably be on the tour. You know, he's a great bowler. He bowls 300 games seemingly every winter when he goes down and bowls. I'm not so sure how much he likes contact, but he probably could have been a football player of some sort.
Well, I understand he was a great high school football player. I mean, there are a lot of guys who were great high school football players that, of course, go on to be, you know, athletes in other sports. What a pick by Votto. So Brandon and Joey going back to back.
I'll tell you, the defense the Reds have played in the infield this year, it's the best I've seen in a long time. I mean, even with Scott Rowland missing as many games as he has, and he may be the best of all. I mean, of course, Brandon Phillips right now is the reigning Gold Glove man at second base, and I don't see him unseated. But Votto's played Gold Glove caliber. It's been a nice, tight defense on the infield.
Two away now for Martinez, who homered down the right field line his last time up. Well, he got tied up on that swing. 1-2 to Martinez. Yankees at the end of 5 with a 5-0 lead over Tampa Bay. Boston leading Baltimore by a run. Talked about the Rays with 7 games remaining this year against the New York Yankees. And don't play Boston again. And I don't believe the Yankees and Red Sox play again. No, they don't. Still 1-2 to Martinez. Meanwhile, in the National League, Cardinals losing 4-0 in the bottom of the 3rd to the Mets. And Atlanta with a 2.5 game wild card lead over St. Louis, a 4-0 lead over the Marlins in the bottom of the 6th inning. I beg your pardon. The Yankees and the Red Sox do have 3 games against one another this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I beg your pardon. So naturally, that would mean the Yankees and the only 2 teams they play the rest of the year are the 2 teams in the wild card. 3 starting tonight with Tampa Bay. 3 over the weekend. Against Boston, and then next week against Tampa Bay again. Two and two. Bailey trying to finally put away Martinez, and he misses in. Pretty good battle there, and Bailey comes out the winner this time. Homer is retired 8 in a row. Middle of the 5th, the Reds with a 3-run lead. Tomorrow night, the Coleraine Cardinals traveling to Middletown to take on the Middies. Our high school football game of the week kicks off at 7. Brad Johansson and Dave Lapham on the call right here on Fox Sports Ohio. It's a good one. Real good one. I understand that game is going across the entire country on national TV tomorrow night. Coleraine and Middletown. Nuri Rodriguez takes over on the mound for Lucas Harrell. Harrell allowed in an inning and a third a couple of hits and a couple of runs along with a walk. Reds lead 5-2. Of course, we saw Rodriguez as a starter this year, and a dominant one at that, in a game right in this ballpark earlier this year. Pitched in 31 games. His tonight is 32nd out of the bullpen. Made 8 starts in the rotation from the beginning of May. That's when he was here. Through the middle of June, he didn't win a game. Certainly pitched well enough to beat the Reds earlier this year.
Well, kind of an interesting story on Rodriguez. He was originally signed by the Rockies when he was 17 years old, and then he was traded to the Tampa Bay Rays in a Jason Hamill deal, and The Astros got him off that roster last winter in the Rule 5 draft.
Off the end of the bat, popped up in a short left, 1 out. Well, if you didn't hear us the first time, the Mega Millions jackpot tonight is up to $75 million. That's brought to you by the Ohio Lottery. You can't win if you don't play. Chris, you've been on a pretty good roll here lately. You might want to pick up an Ohio Lottery ticket on the way home tonight.
Not a bad idea.
Before you cross the river.
Are you allowed to do that? Are you allowed to live in Kentucky and win the Ohio Lottery?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the big one, I think. I think that's a nationwide. That Mega Millions.
Are you picking one up?
I may have to do that.
And if you win tonight, will you be at work tomorrow for the day game?
Oh, sure, but maybe not New York Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Don't forget about your old buddy Chris.
Well, there'll be a lot of people in that rear view mirror.
Now you'll be able to buy a whole new dream team if you win that lottery, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Shepard might not be the only one out.
Jack Nicklaus on that team.
He'll be the D player, probably.
That's about it. We're playing off those red tees.
Even the Eddie Shepard tees.
What was that all about?
Well, the ruling was
tee box, is that what you had? Okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, if you're
That's
65 or older and had a high handicap, you got to hit off the red tees. But I think Eddie, from what I understand, was the only one that we could find that was hitting out there.
You know what? That's all right.
It is all right.
That's all right.
It'd been nice if we'd used any of his shots, though.
As Rocco retired for the second out of the inning. Of course, they've raised over $1.5 million for the Reds Community Fund for the Marty Brennaman Golf Classic. Over the last handful of years, that is a pile of money. All the great sponsors and so many of you out there that got involved and bought foursomes, and believe me, that money will be turned right back around and put into renovating baseball fields all around Reds country, not just Cincinnati, all over Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia. The RBI program that takes place, of course, in conjunction with Major League Baseball. The program they started a couple of years ago where kids in the inner city go out and play. A lot of the kids in the suburbs, and they'll stay at their houses for a number of days. Kids from the suburbs will come into the city and they'll play down here and stay down here. It's been a fascinating and wonderful program. And so all the money raised from that golf classic the last couple of days out at Belterra in Indiana, it's a pile of money, and it's all going to good causes.
Well, Reds country has always been an area where amateur baseball has just been outstanding, maybe tops in the country. And the work of the community fund, Charlie Frank and company, all the money that they've raised and the fields that they've fixed and built, it just made this even more and more of a hotbed for amateur baseball everywhere. My son played on a field just the other day, Coco Cordero Field over in Kentucky. What a great job they did with that field.
Straight away center field. That'll back up Jordan Schaefer, and Giannis retired in a 1-2-3 inning for Rodriguez. We move on to the 6th. 5-2 Reds.
fellow Reds fans. You receive coaching from Reds legends and coaches and former players and even more during the 2012 Reds Fantasy Camp. For more information, visit Reds.com/fantasycamp. For tickets, more information about that, 513-381-REDS. And I'll tell you what, it is a good time. And Tom Brenneman, we're going to have to get you down there one.
You know what?
Year.
I would love to go one year. I'd really have a good time. I mean, I know I wouldn't play worth a hoot, but I know that there are a lot of people that probably don't either.
But they have a good time.
That's right.
And that's really what it's all about.
I mean, you're one of the real ringleaders of that thing.
Well,
you have been for a long, long time.
You know, Doug Flynn does a great job in running it.
Right.
And the Reds, since they've taken it over, have done a super job. But it sells out every year. So if you're really serious about getting involved in it, now's the time to act.
But, I mean, you have been a mainstay down there. I mean, I know you probably missed one here or one there, but you've been a guy who's been there pretty regularly, right?
Well, yeah, I have.
That's good.
And of course, the switch from Sarasota to Goodyear, the facility down there is just outstanding. And I mean, the guys really like it. The weather's perfect. Get to hang out with the likes of Lee May and Jim Maloney, Jack Billingham, Brad the Animal Leslie comes every year, Tom Browning. I mean, it is a riot to hear these guys tell stories. Jim Maloney, one of the all-time best storytellers you'll ever hear.
Good guy.
And a gem of a guy.
No doubt. What a pitcher he was.
Oh.
3-1 to Carlos Lee. And here's strike two. Big fella thought that was ball four. Reds lead 5-2. Homer Bailey on the mound allowed the 2-run home run to J.D. Martinez back in the third inning. He has fanned 4. He's walked 2 and allowed 4 hits. Number that skips off the mound right to Giannis. 1 away.
Hey, Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, let JTM Food Group help you with great tasting products for your menu. Inspired solutions and better results. JTM. Homer's really settled down here. He's had back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings, retired the last 9 in a row. The only blemish was that ball that he hung up there for J.D. Martinez. Martinez hit that opposite field home run. But he looks like he is again in control of his hometown team, the Houston Astros. I think LaGrange, and that's where Homer is from, is a couple of hours drive from Houston.
Of course, in Texas, that's a short ride.
Oh, yeah. It's like going down to the convenience store there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Homer raised on a chicken farm. $500,000 chickens. All of them scared with a kid with his arm in a gravel driveway. .25 years old and already 70+ starts in the major leagues.
Phillips to his right, nearly lost his footing, throws and not in time. Had a hard time righting the ship after getting over there. That'll be a base hit. And left foot gave out on him twice once he started to plant and throw right there. So an infield hit ends that string of 9 straight retired by Homer Bailey. Paredes bats. He is struck out and bounced into a fielder's choice. scalded right at Drew Stubbs. 2 are out. Jose Altuve has twice grounded out to the shortstop Paul Yanish. Astros have 1 on, 2 outs. We're in the 6th inning, and the Reds leading 5-2. Dave Chappelle has been on base 3 times, 2 hits and a walk. He's knocked in a run, scored a run. Jay Bruce, a 2-out, 2-run single in the 4th inning. Francisco, a couple of hits and a run scored. Reds got on the board in the 3-run second thanks to a 2-run home run by Homer's battery mate Devin Mesoraco. One and 2 to Altuve, and now turning to throw to first. Bailey okays a sign with Mesoraco, and now the 1-2 pitch, and we'll do it once more. Cardinals have gotten 3 runs back in the 3rd inning, so they trail the Mets 4-3 in the top of the 4th. Homer Bailey has hit 100 pitches in the game. And here we are in the 6th inning. 2 outs and 1 on. Bailey an extended look in, okaying the sign with Mesoraco. Runner goes, and a ground ball foul. Told you about the Cardinals trailing. The team they're chasing, the Braves, now in the 7th with a 4-0 lead in Florida. And over in that American League wild card, the Yankees 5, Tampa Bay nothing in the 6th. Boston 5, Baltimore 4 at the end of 5. 2-2 to count. That battle out west rages on as well. That one not quite over yet because the 2 teams, the Diamondbacks and the defending world champion Giants, play 3 times over the weekend in Phoenix. Tonight the Diamondbacks hosting the Pirates after they had Ian Kennedy pick up his 20th win last night.
Altuve had a pretty good swing at that high breaking ball right there. Kind of short in height. Good high ball hitter. Homer needs to just throw some hard stuff down right here.
Just can't put him away.
They got to get the ball down the zone. I mean, you know, if nothing else, and the Reds have, like every other major league team, just very precise scouting reports. I mean, they know what these guys' tendencies are, where their hot zone is, what pitches they're looking for, and so on. But You know, oftentimes you can simply scout by body type. And Altuve is a short guy. And it's known that short guys like the ball up and tall guys like the ball down for the most part. This guy's got a lot better swings on balls around the letter, so get the ball down around the knees now for a strike.
I would imagine this will be it for Homer Bailey. His spot is due to lead off the bottom of this 6th inning. 105 pitches in the game for Bailey. Runner at first will get started with 2 away and a 3-2 on the way to Altuve. Here it is. And a tapper down to third. Cut off by Francisco, and his throw is in time. That'll win the inning. If it is the end of the night for Bailey, a solid effort. 2 runs and 5 hits in 6 innings. It's time for the Coors Light freeze can. Early on, you never know how these plays go. If Dave Chappelle doesn't leap and make that grab, the Houston Astros are off and running. But he did. And that's our Coors Light freeze can, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. You know, many, many years ago, and there are plenty of you around that remember when Bill Brown used to work in Cincinnati.
Worked at Channel 5.
He did. He was a Monday through Friday sports anchor. In fact, that was before I even started working there. That was back in the early 1980s.
I thought he did some Bengals games, did he not? Or he did Reds for a few years.
Yep, Reds a couple years. Today is his 64th birthday. We should all look that good when we're 64.
Boy, you're not kidding.
But it was announced today by the Astros that Bill will be honored in the Houston Astros Wall of Fame that they have at the ballpark there in Houston. And well, what a great honor it is, and a well-deserved honor for Bill Brown. While he goes about his business and a pro's pro all the way.
He does about as much prep work as any play-by-play guy in the league.
Boy, not a nicer guy and a more low-key guy. Of course, he's on the ballot for the 2012 Ford C. Frick Award. Now in his 25th year with the Astros. Congratulations, Bill Brown. Long-time TV voice.
And happy birthday.
Indeed. Well, obviously the night is not over for Homer Bailey. He is batting leading off here the bottom of the 6th inning. We're going to stretch Homer out a little bit. Of course, he's gone past 100.
Looking for a 3-hit night here. That's a special night.
And there it is.
That is the best of the night right there. That was a rope. Well, he's had an infield hit on a swinging butt. Got an opposite field hit. And this hanging breaking ball right there, he just throws that top hand. That's a good old-fashioned humpback line drive base hit. One more look with our Performance Honda Exmo.
Well, he joins Dontrell Willis as the only 2 Reds pitchers to have 3 hits in a game this year, and it's the first ever for Homer Bailey.
Some bragging rights right there.
Oh, yeah. You know, isn't it funny to watch Homer Bailey put that pullover on there? And those are they have such good looking stuff. And not only the Reds team shop, obviously in merchandise shops, professional sports, regardless of sport. But it always harkens back in the days when you were pitching, Chris, for so long that nobody thought of coming up with something like that. Seemingly forever.
Well, all we had
in the old days were just wearing those jackets that you had to button up.
Well, they weren't beating buttons, they were old rusty snaps.
Yeah, that's right. Snap.
And there was only one, and it was always too hot in the summer and never warm enough in the spring or the fall. Well, I mean, your wardrobe has certainly improved over the last 25 years.
Right. The one thing I wish they would bring back, I love the little golf cart that they brought the relievers in. In some of the ballparks around baseball that have the team cap sitting on top of the golf cart, and they drive them in from the bullpen.
At Yankee Stadium, when I made an appearance out of the bullpen there, they had a little Toyota that was all pinstriped up and made up with a Yankee hat. And I didn't want to get in. I wanted to run out there. And this real mean-looking Italian-looking guy rolled the window down and said, "Get in." I wasn't sure where he was going to take me.
You're right. 2-2 to Phillips. That's funny. Homer will advance on to second. He's already scored a run in the game, thanks in large part to a wild pitch that was thrown back in that 4th inning by Bud Norris.
Of course, they never had the cart here in Cincinnati because the bullpens are right down the line at the old Riverfront Stadium. That's when the game would be interrupted periodically with a wild pitch would get away out of the bullpen. Ball goes screaming behind the umpire.
Phillips gone on strikes. 0 for 3 night for Brandon, along with a walk, 1 out in the inning. Didn't they bring him out from Fenway Park during that 75, I beg your pardon, World Series? Didn't they bring him in one of those golf carts when relievers at Fenway would come into the game?
I can't remember.
I thought they did. I thought that was the first time I had ever seen it. Now Dave Chappelle, a perfect night for him. A couple of hits, a walk, an RBI, and a run scored. Hit pretty well in the left center field. Giving chase is Martinez, and short of the track, he'll get it. 2 out. Joey Votto with Bailey at second base and 2 away. Votto looking for his first hit in this series. 0 for 4 last night. And 0 for 3 tonight, including a ground ball double play to end the inning with the bases loaded back in the second. They're going to walk Votto.
Joey's got some fans here tonight. There they are. They've got a Canadian flag they're waving. They're not happy about this intentional walk. Votto for MVP.
Good looking group there.
Yeah, it is.
They're going to bring a left-hander in to face Jay Bruce after the intentional walk of Votto. So Anuri Rodriguez goes an inning and 2/3, a strikeout, an intentional walk, and a hit. So the Astros will summon the lefty for the bullpen, and we'll tell you about Xavier Cedeno when we come back. Wednesday at 9 o'clock. That's tomorrow night. The crowning of the Hit King, 41-92, right here on Fox Sports Ohio. The Pete Rose story. Told you Xavier Cedeno will take over on the mound. Last pitch Friday night against the Cubbies. And he's on to face left-handed batting Jay Bruce.
Well, that 1/3 of an inning that he pitched against the Cubs was his major league debut. He was originally signed by the Rockies out of Miami-Dade Community College. He's from Guayanilla, Puerto Rico. And when the Rockies released him last April, nobody else came calling. So he sat home in Puerto Rico all year last year, went to winter ball, and finally hooked on here with the Astros and finds himself in the major leagues. Prior to this year, he'd never been above Double-A. I'll tell you what, if you're a young player looking for a job in the major leagues, being on this Astros roster is not a bad place to be. Sometimes it's just being in the right place at the right time. You got a lot of guys really who are seemingly major league ready on this Reds roster that played for Rick Sweet down in AAA this year, but there's really not enough room for all of them. And they're probably sitting in the Reds dugout wondering what would it be for me personally if I was sitting over there in the Astros dugout. I'd be playing every day.
And you know what? The Astros would be extremely excited to have a whole flock of players like the Reds have in that stable that they'd be running out there to play here over the last couple of months every day. Guys like Sapelt and Alonso and Frazier and Mesoraco. There's a base hit by Jay Bruce, and they're going to hold Homer Bailey at third.
Well, back-to-back hits for Jay Bruce. He is. What happened there? They got him napping.
Yes, they did. We'll see how they score this. And Homer not happy with himself and his base running over there at third. He overran it. They threw anyway. He was looking away, and they tag him out.
Ball is brought to you by AT&T. Cincinnati Children's ranks third in the nation on U.S. News and World Report's honor roll for Best Children's Hospitals 2011. By your Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. And by Wendy's. You know when it's real.
Well, it's turned out to be a beautiful night after a 10-minute rain delay. Had some rainfall about 20 minutes before the first pitch. Didn't last very long, obviously. Top of the 7th inning. Reds trying to even this series at 1 game apiece, knowing that they're right back at it early tomorrow for their final home game of this 2011 year.
Well, probably the last inning here for Homer Bailey. He's only allowed 1 base runner in the last 3 innings. That was a hit that he gave up to Brian Bogusevic in the last frame, and 6 innings of 5-hit 2-run baseball for Bailey. 3 hits to his measure on the night. 3 of the 11 that the Reds have pounded out.
Homer will get 1 more start. When that will be, the Reds have not announced their probables over the weekend outside of Friday night's pitcher Edinson Volquez. But Homer should get 1 more start. Could be as soon as Sunday, working on a 4-day rest period, or maybe Monday in New York. The Reds have an off day, so maybe they push everybody back. Of course, Mike Leake has already been shut down for the year. Dontrell Willis couldn't go the other night. Bronson Arroyo is scheduled to pitch the home finale tomorrow afternoon against left-hander Wandy Rodriguez. It's kind of ball you see guys losing the lights, and it looked like momentarily there Francisco may have done just that. Catcher Devin Mesoraco coming out to go over the scouting report on Brett Wallace, who will bat for the first time in this series. Of course, when we saw the Astros early in the year, this guy was their regular first baseman. Of course, the guy who was on the other corner, Chris Johnson, such high hopes for both of these guys. Heck, you go way back with the Chris Johnson family.
Yeah. Ron Johnson is his dad, and I played with Ron in the minor leagues. Great guy. Lost touch with him along the way, but really nice guy. Funny how some guys just drop off the face of the earth. You just never see them. I mean, you sent him a Christmas card one year and never hear from him again. Funny. Good pitch there by Bailey.
Indeed. Back to first strikeout since the fourth inning. That's his fifth in the game.
Watch as Jim Day visits Cincinnati USA's must-see attractions. Where in Cincinnati, USA is Jim Day? Well, tune in to Fox Sports Ohio to find out. You never really know. Today, Jim was down at the Reds TV affiliates luncheon, emceeing that down at the precinct. Had a big spread down there.
Precinct?
Oh, yeah. Jim was holding court.
Holy Moses.
Yeah.
That's big league lunch.
They invite us to the hot dogs and beans picnics, don't they? Jim Day gets to go to the nice thick steaks.
I didn't even know there was any picnic. Hot dogs or steaks.
You're really off the list.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about next year. That one bunted. And Bailey's throw not going to be in time. It'll be a bunt hit for Jordan Schaefer.
Sometimes you're always the last to know.
Life moves on. Bunt hit by Schaefer. You're going to be a guy to keep an eye on next year, Schaefer. There's a lot to like about Jordan Schaefer.
I really liked him. I mean, the short time we saw him with the Atlanta Braves before he was traded over here, of course, he was in that Michael Bourne deal. They were kind of high on him, and you mentioned about that wrist injury that he had, and you see him wrapping up that wrist right there. But it seems like, Tom, with more and more baseball going to speed and defense, these guys like Tony Campana and Jordan Schaefer, the speedsters, are getting more and more looks now than they would have, say, 10 or 15 years ago, when everybody was looking for a big bopper.
Second time Schaefer has been on base tonight. He walked, stole a base, and scored on the Martinez home run back in the third. The only runs against Homer Bailey tonight. Pitch number 117 coming up with a man on and 2 out. With Dusty Baker almost willing Homer Bailey to really focus and finish off this inning. Baker was standing up and encouraging Bailey, yelling out to the mound and clapping his hands, trying to drive Bailey to higher heights and get him to understand about pitching deep into a game and finishing off 7 strong innings. Like seeing that from the skipper.
You really do. At the same time, Dusty Baker is more sensitive than ever about pitch counts as he climbs in on that, 118 pitches now, 119 coming up. I don't think that's an extraordinary amount by any means.
No. And he's going to get 7 strong.
Good.
I'm sure the manager will be the first guy there to give him a big pat on the back. He'll wait for Homer to come back. Bailey, 7 innings, 2 runs tonight. It's Ohio Reds Fest presented by PNC, December 2nd and 3rd at the Duke Energy Center. Don't miss your chance to see your Cincinnati Reds. What a weekend it is. Well, Homer Bailey, 7 innings in the books. Allows 6 hits, 2 runs, 119 pitches, walks a pair, fans 5. And if the bullpen can pick up the final 6 outs, he'll get his 9th win against 7 losses. He also had a career high 3 hits in the game tonight. Not a bad crowd tonight. 23,847 here on the second to last home game of the year. You know, you come to the ballpark so regularly and you get to know so many people around the stadium, as the Astros will go to their bullpen. And now following up Cedeno is Juan Abreu, pitching in his 4th game. You know, you see ushers, you see security folks, you see police officers that are down here working, those that work back in the kitchen up here at the media level, the press level. In fact, for that matter, so many of the employees of the Reds that all of a sudden, Chris, you're used to seeing them regularly over 6 months, and then bam.
And you don't see them again until next April.
I know.
Now, a lot of the same people work over at the Bengals Stadium, so if you're able to go to some of the Bengals games, you see them over there.
Two and two the count on Juan Francisco, and he chases that fastball up.
Pretty good fastball right there, 96. Another one of these young men that the Astros are giving a second life to after spending some minor league time with another organization, originally signed by the Royals back in 2003 when he was just a youngster.
0-1 on Drew Stubbs, 0 for 2 in a game. He walked back in the third inning. Other games of importance: Cardinals losing, Braves winning, Yankees winning, Boston winning. 1-2 on Stubbs. They're underway out in Arizona. 1-0 Pirates in the first inning, and later tonight the Giants and the Dodgers from Los Angeles. What a matchup in that game. Tim Lincecum against Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, a lot of people think maybe Clayton Kershaw ought to be the Cy Young Award winner in the National League this year. A lot of pretty good pitchers to choose from in that particular race.
2-2 the count on Stubbs. They thought they had him struck out on that last pitch, and they got him on this one.
Abreu coming in here throwing gas. As I said, originally property of the Kansas City Royals, and then a couple of years ago in a contract problem, he ended up becoming a free agent. The Braves offered him a major league contract, and he was traded from the Braves organization over here to the Astros again in that Michael Bourne deal. He has come out here throwing BBs.
Mesoraco hit a 2-run home run. His first time up tonight, back in the second inning, his second major league home run. And this young man, Mr. Abreu, is coming in here and throwing some gas. Tried to go to the outside corner there and missed at 96. He's not trying to trick anybody out there.
Well, to say he is a full effort pitcher is an understatement. I mean, he is putting just about every ounce that he has of energy and strength into every pitch. Rock and fire. They might have to replace that sign.
Ball forward to Mesoraco.
On a breaking ball, you throw 97 miles an hour. You just struck out the side on fastball, and you decide to get cute and throw a breaking ball on a 3-2 count.
That might have been what his catcher Quintero asked.
Well, I mean, Quintero, I mean, it didn't look like he crossed him up on it. Maybe he just shook him off so many times. Quintero finally said, fine, throw what you want.
Well, we're in the bottom of the 7th inning, and it's a 5-2 Reds lead. 2-0 the count on Paul Yadish. And there's a fastball to 95 in there for a strike. The ground is short, and this ought to do it in the inning. And it does. Astros come to bat in the 8th. Reds in front 5-2. Cold hard blast. Devin Mesoraco back in the 2nd inning.
He turned on that right quick. I'll tell you what, he shows that he can turn on a fastball. Got a lot of power, does that young man.
Well, the night is over for Homer Bailey.
And a good job he did.
Indeed. 119 pitches, 2 runs, 6 hits in 7 innings. Fan 5, walk 2. So Mesoraco's new battery mate. We saw him in a game last night, an inning, a hit, a walk, no runs. Jose Arredondo. You know, all of us tend to get so wrapped up in, you know, the disappointment of this year on the heels of last year and winning a divisional championship. You know, but for some guys this year, you can't put into words what this season means, and I don't think anybody more so than perhaps Arredondo. You know, one time an extremely promising career, in line to take over for Frankie Rodriguez as a closer for the Angels, and tore up his elbow, and Angels turned him loose. The Reds picked him up, signed him when they knew he would have to have Tommy John surgery performed by Dr. Timothy Kremchek. And if somebody would have told him a year ago, you're going to come back and pitch in more than 50 games for the Reds in 2011.
Well, you think the Reds may have learned their lesson with Ryan Dempster? Very similar story right there. You know, when Dempster came up with the Marlins, he was always wild. He threw hard. And he really didn't have much of a run of it with the Reds. And then he realized that he had Tommy John problems.
That ball hit hard, and it's off the wall in left field by Martinez. And Sepelt is going to hold him to a single. Nicely done.
He's made a couple of nice plays out there. I don't mean Tommy John problems. He had elbow problems that required Tommy John surgery. So the Reds performed surgery on him. They rehabbed him. And just about the time that he was ready to come back the following year, he was a free agent, and the Cubs beat him to offering him a contract. They offered him, what, a few $100,000 contract to sign. He stayed out a little bit longer, but he ended up coming back and being, you know, a closer for the Cubs for many years. Had about 70 saves, I think, in a period of time for the Cubs, and one of their best starters over the last few years. So you see now how Tommy John surgery for a lot of pitchers is more like an oil change than it is, you know, where you rebuild the entire engine. Most of the guys come back, more than 90% of them come back throwing the ball better than they did prior to, because of all the work you do in rehab.
And really, there's a cross-up right there of some kind. You saw that reaction by Mesoraco, but, you know, really it's become just a patience thing. As long as the pitcher who has the surgery does not get impatient and try to come back too soon. And there's an exception to every rule.
Oh, sure.
But as long as the pitcher is patient, the medical staff, the club is patient, guys should come back and prove, and they will come back.
Well, you see those surgeries performed, and Dr. Kremchek will bear this out anytime you want to talk to him, on younger and younger players all the time. I mean, yeah, I went over there, had shoulder surgery last year. I'm sitting in the waiting room, and it's full of kids that are, you know, nursing, you know, knee injuries, and also Tommy John injuries in their teens. Whether that's from just an inherited weak elbow, or whether it's maybe overuse, you never really know. But this is a good shot by the Reds to take a guy that was a proven commodity. I mean, a couple of years ago, he just had a sensational year with the Los Angeles Angels.
Two to Lee, and that's in the air, and this time it's playable and foul ground for Francisco. One out. Well, Dusty Baker going to come out and get Arredondo with the left-handed batting Bogusevic coming up. We are in the 8th inning. Reds leading 5-2, 1 on, 1 out. And we'll be back in a moment. And now on the pitch is left-hander Bill Bray.
Having a good year as Bill Bray, earned run average down around 2.7. Early in the year, it seemed like Bill Bray was the guy that Dusty Baker would go to faced one left-handed hitter. And he got away from that for a while because he was throwing the ball so well. Dusty would start off an inning with him. There have been times he faced, 3 righties in a row. 76 times out there for Bill Bray. Another one of these guys, like Arredondo, who has had Tommy John surgery in the past. He's been off for a while. Bray has not pitched since the 15th of the month.
Well, he was so busy for so long there during the year. Especially after Aroldis Chapman, after a great month of April, started having his issues throwing the ball over the plate in the month of May. And Bray became that primary left-hander down the bullpen. And, again, like Arredondo, you talked about, having in common coming back from Tommy John surgery. But like Arredondo, Bray has had his most consistent year. Would you not agree?
Absolutely right. I think the biggest thing for Bray is his health, number one, and he's gotten his delivery under control. I mean, it's still herky-jerky to the point where it's very deceptive, but he used to be so herky-jerky that he couldn't repeat it and throw strikes. He gets ahead 0-2, wastes a slider, and Bogaseva can't lay off. Whew. That's abuse.
Well, there's a guy we were talking about earlier. You played with his father. You two are very, very good friends.
Chris Johnson, yeah. Now he's known as CJ. Chris Johnson, as his dad was known as RJ, Ron Johnson.
But you lost touch with the Johnson family.
I did. I mean, it happens in the minor leagues. You play with folks, and families get to know, wives get to know each other, and then you exchange cards, and the next thing you know, you lose track of them.
What do you mean cards?
Christmas cards. We sent the Johnsons a Christmas card one year, thinking we get one back. Never did.
I mean, you mean you literally sent him a Christmas card and you never heard from him again?
Stamped it and put it in the mail. And
I mean, what did you? I mean, man, I've never heard of such a.
Well, I mean,
You're right, Tony. That's a minor league life.
Yeah. And maybe they never even got it. I'm hoping that's the case.
Oh, and 1 to Johnson. Johnson trying to end this inning, and it's in the air, foul ground, out of play. Baltimore has just scored 3 times in the top of the 8th inning to go in front of Boston 7-5. That's a bad news for Red Sox Nation. The good news is the Yankees are batting in the bottom of the 8th with a 5-0 lead over the Rays. Atlanta has finished off Florida 4-0 the final there. Delgado getting the win. And the Cardinals and the Mets are tied at 5. Cardinals trying to win to keep that spread at 2.5 in the National League wild card. This one hit a ton down the left field line, and it's fouling out of play. Actually not hit as far as it initially looked like when it left the bat. I'm not so sure that ball would have left the park. It went in the first row, but in foul territory first row. And when you get to the fair pole, it jets out a little bit.
Johnson's doing a good job of staying on Bray's fastball. Bill Bray's trying to go up and away from him and throw it by him, and he's been able to foul those off. The one he nearly hit out of the ballpark just foul was like a slider down and in. Mesoraco wants another fastball, this time inside.
Started 2, they appeal, and he did not go around. 3-2 now to Johnson. Top of the 8th inning, 1 on, 2 out. 3-2 to Johnson, and he's making Bray work. Well, Bill just doesn't have that finish-off pitch so far in this at-bat.
Well, the sliders that he's throwing, like the last pitch, have been kind of flat. In pitching coaches' vernacular, they'll say there's not enough depth, meaning he's not staying on top of it and driving it down in the zone, kind of just cutting across.
Let's see if he can get him here on a 3-2 pitch again. Nope, another foul ball out of play.
And another souvenir.
In terms of total pitches in a game, this has to be among the most pitches that have been thrown in a Reds game that wasn't an extra inning game this year.
Well, you've got Joel Luckham sitting next to you. Why don't you ask him to look that up?
He's checking it out, but you know, the Houston starter threw over 70 pitches in a little over 2 innings. This one, if it stays fair, is plenty enough. And that is a 2-run home run by Johnson. And all of a sudden, the 5-2 lead is down to 1.
Boy, what a great at-bat for Chris Johnson right there. Bill Bray got ahead of him, 1 ball and 2 strikes, and he kept fouling ball after ball after ball off to stay alive, and finally got a pitch down in his wheelhouse. He almost swings like a right-handed lefty. I mean, Mesoraco wants that ball up. It looks like Johnson's wheelhouse is down and in. Boy, he jumped all over that bad boy.
Well, Dusty coming out to get Bray. We'll be back in a moment. Reds are bringing on their 3rd pitcher in this inning to try and get the 3rd out of this inning. And here's Jared Burton.
You know, it's interesting because Bill Bray's job at the beginning of the year was to be that loogie guy, left only one guy. You come in there, you pitch the left-hander, and Dusty rolled the dice, bringing him in there got the lefty out no problem. Struck out Bogusevic on a nice slider and put him away, made him look terrible. But when the right-hander came up, left him in the ball game and was unable to retire him. So, you know, the more you see that kind of thing, the more you think, well, that's why you do have left-handed specialists. Anyway, you got a one-run game and Jared Burton's in it.
Altuve tonight 0 for 3 is grounded to short twice and bounced out to third. Holy Moses, 3-0. And one account on Altuve, and he has hammered this ball into deep left field, and it's up against the wall. So the tying run is standing at second base, and the Reds still can't find that third out here in the 8th inning.
Well, they can't get the ball down. I mean, you get the ball down to Chris Johnson, that's where his wheelhouse is. But Altuve, everybody who's pitched against this guy knows, and we've said it from up here, Tom, he's a good high ball hitter. And you get behind him 3-1, you throw a strike, you got a 3-1 pitch coming. Look what the pitch is. Right, well, it was actually above the knees, but high enough for him to guess on a 3-1 fastball, and pow. It's an Astro team that has lost 100 games. Making them look awfully good.
Now Matt Downs, he was a guy who gave Houston the tie-breaking home run, a leadoff shot in the 8th inning off Nick Massett last night, giving Houston a 3-2 lead, and that's the way it ended up. Burton, for the second straight hitter, has fallen behind 2-0. Talked about Downs last night. He'll certainly have a spot on this Houston roster next year with his versatility. Great job he's done off the bench, but in this 8th inning tonight, no home run, it's a ground out. So Burton gets that final out. Reds down to the bottom of the 8th. Their lead is now down to a run. Jordan Schaefer. Beautifully done indeed.
Yeah, Jay Bruce went on to have 2 other hits in that ballgame. That would have given him a 3-hit night had Schaefer not been able to run that baby down and make a nice diving catch.
Johnson remains in a game after the pinch hit 2-run home run to make it a 1-run game. J.R. Tolles now behind the plate. And Wilton Lopez on the mound. This guy's had a really good year. ERA barely over 2.5, pitching in his 23rd or 63rd game. Yonder Alonso up there to pinch hit, batting forward. Jared Burton. There's some high gas right by Yonder in that trip. 1 away.
Set him up with some off-speed pitches early on. It got him thinking about something off-speed, then pow. Not only high gas, but had a little movement on that ball.
Waiting for Brandon Phillips to get in the batter's box with 1 away. Pitcher standing there, and Brandon now set to go. He's 0 for 3, drew a walk back in his 2nd inning. That ball hammered into deep left center field. The 6th home run on this homestand for Brandon Phillips. One-third of Brandon Phillips' home runs this season have come during this final homestand of this season.
Boy, did this sound good coming off the bat. I mean, it sounded like somebody stacking timber. Came at a good time, too. They're trying to get a little momentum back. No stride at all for Brandon Phillips, simply a little bit of a shift of weight. Good firm front side right here, and just follows through and drives it right out the front door.
Of course, Pelton lines one hard into right field. I tell you what, there's a lot to like about that, the way that young man swings it back.
He's come on strong. He's swinging the bat now the way he did in spring training when he gained the attention of just about everybody that came out to watch a Reds game.
And really, that's what you saw. You saw rockets to center, you saw rockets to left, and rockets to right. One in, 2 out. Joey Votto, the batter, 0 for 3, was intentionally walked his last time up. One and 1 to Votto, and it's on the outside corner, strike 2. Looking ahead of the Houston 9th inning. They'll have a pinch hitter for the pitcher, and then back to the top of the order, Schaefer and Sanchez. Michael Cordero will undoubtedly be on to try and nail it down. A win tonight and the Reds would be 4-4 on this 9-game through. Is it 9 games homestand, 10-game homestand? They'd be 4-5 after losing the opener last night. Votto, his first hit in the series. Of course, the Reds lost the first game of the homestand to Chicago, won 3 in a row, and then lost 4 in a row coming into the game tonight. Votto snapping a season high 0 for 14 streak with that base hit. And now Jay Bruce. He snapped an 0 for 16 skid with that 2-run single back in the 4th inning. 2-0 to Bruce. Base hit in the right field. Votto going to try for third. Here comes a throw there, and it short hops to third baseman Johnson. Well, the Reds' 8th inning continues on hits from Joey and Jay.
Jay Bruce hits over the top of it, but strong enough and in the hole to get the right field. Joey Votto never even thinks about stopping at second base. He sees that ground ball, and he is heading on his way to third, forcing the Astros to make a play that they do not make.
So Brad Mills allows the right-hander Lopez to face left-handed batters back-to-back. And now he's going to come get Lopez and bring in a left-hander to face Juan Francisco. Brandon Phillips. And then with 2 outs, back-to-back hits from Votto and Bruce. And so now we'll get a look at Wesley Wright, a left-hander who since coming back to the Major League club, he's been up and down a couple of times this year. And obviously when he's been up, he's been pretty good. He came on to get Joey Votto to bounce into a double play and got Jay Bruce on a fly ball to right last night. Although tonight Brad Mills does not use him to face either Votto or Bruce. He will bring him in to face Francisco. Well, you brought up earlier about throwing Juan Francisco a first pitch fastball, and he got one right there, right down the heart of the plate, didn't swing at it.
Yeah, you would think that especially against a left-hander, you want to see that first fastball and you hack. Now he's looking at maybe getting some more, getting the fastball again.
Ball down to first, and that will take care of Francisco and the Reds in the 8th. But they get a home run by Brandon Phillips. And so Houston will bat the 9th against Coco. Reds up 2. Of the game, Brandon Phillips to push it from a 1-run to a 2-run lead with that home run in the 8th inning. It's hard to believe in it, Chris. You play this many games, and to think you have 1/3 of your season total in home runs on one homestand.
And you know, the other interesting thing about that, Tom, is that you're talking about him in the leadoff spot. Remember, he was in the number 4 hole for a long time this year in the absence of Scott Rowland. I mean, he was very versatile, but you think he would have had more home runs out of that because you're thinking home run, bigger swing, driving the ball. When you're a leadoff hitter, not so much. Just goes to show you that with Brandon Phillips, you know, when he really wants to buckle down and use the entire field and stay on top of the baseball, he could be some kind of baseball player.
Brandon Phillips all of a sudden has gone from having 12 home runs and right around 70 RBIs on this homestand. All of a sudden now 18 home runs, over 80 runs batted in. And that batting average at .294. J.B. Shuck, the former Buckeye. Born in Westerville, Ohio. We saw him last night come off the bench and get a big base hit. Liner caught by Brandon Phillips. One out in the ninth. You know, we thank so many here tonight, and certainly want to thank our producers of Reds baseball the entire year. Mentioned Kent Dreamweaver earlier on. Brian Unterman, year after year after year here on Fox Sports Ohio. And of course our lead producer throughout this entire year, Christian Roberts. Look forward to seeing him on his final road trip of the year. Coordinating producers, Doug Johnson, who's moved on to Pittsburgh. We certainly wish him well there, and taking his place, Bob Pennell. There's a little flare into center field. That'll be a base hit for Schaefer. And our executive producer at Fox Sports Ohio, Tom Farmer. And of course the main man, the head man of all of Fox Sports Ohio, Mr. Henry Ford. So now batting for Sanchez, it's Clint Barmes representing the tying run. A one-out single against Cordero by Schaefer. In there straight. Big guy standing in the on-deck circle has made some noise tonight now. 3 hits for J.D. Martinez, including a 2-run home run. Like to get that double play ball off the bat of Barmes and put this thing to bed. Stubbs waving off Sapelt. Martinez will bat. Houston down to its final out of the ninth. You know, you wonder as you stood here and knowing the contractual situation of Francisco Cordero, you don't know what will happen in the game tomorrow. And it certainly makes you wonder, is this the last time that Reds fans here at Great American Ballpark will see Francisco Cordero in a Reds uniform? Cordero's talked so eloquently about how much he loves playing here in Cincinnati, living here in town, all his teammates. He has been extremely good, extremely consistent. Only Heath Bell has a higher save percentage among all National League closers over the 4-year run since Francisco signed that big free agent contract among all National League closers. Reds have talked about the idea perhaps bringing him back. And, you know, you can talk about a lot of other closers that are free agents in a big free agent market for closers. I think you make a very strong argument. There are more than 1 or 2 guys that have had as good a year in that whole crop as Cordero.
Well, on the other hand, then, Tom, it may mean that there are other teams that would be very interested in having Francisco Cordero. So if the Reds don't sign him to an extension, he becomes a free agent. There may be a bidding war, much like there was when the Reds originally signed him. Milwaukee Brewers were after him very hard, trying to get him back to the Brewers.
On the ground. Long way to go. Francisco will play to first, and that's the old ball game. So Cordero nails it down, and the Reds have even this series at a game apiece. Boy, Dusty shaking his head. That one took a lot out of it. A long game, nearly 3.5 hours. But the Reds win it by a final count of 6-4. We'll be back with more. Homer Bailey gets win number 9, and Cordero picks up the save.